excited and deeply honoured to talk to my guest today. Joy Guidry is a classically trained bassoonist and get the horns out, the first bassoonist on my podcast, who with each record that she's released, and there are three of them now, is showing a level of thinking and creativity that is really exciting to witness. She brings experimentation, improvisation, the radical, the avant-garde, and deep reflection, whilst always being, connected to Black ancestry and sound traditions. Her latest album, Five Prayers, moved into, I guess, sort of territory of, solitude, refuge, peace, discovery, and gratitude. And it's a really, really stunning piece of work, as of all her albums have been. Personally, I reconnected with the cello after many years of really sort of being disinterested in it. The pull and push tension that I had between what I'd learned and remembered from, sort of classical framework, and I guess, where I want to go with it, which is bringing in more experimentation and improvisation, is something that I'm kind of exploring. It's a slow process where I feel like I'm having to unlearn things, and I'd really hold Joy up as an example to anyone of the power of our mind to create music that takes, traditionally classical instrument out of that classical context and sort of takes you into, the innermost sanctum of your humanity. So, Joy, good morning to you, and thanks so much for being here.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
It's an absolute pleasure. So, I guess we talk about Five Prayers. It's been what, about 3 months since you released it.
hmm
How are you feeling, and how's the response been to it?
I feel great. It's been a roller coaster of emotions in
Mm,
life these last 3 months, but
mm,
the reception has been so cool. I definitely have learned to enjoy to release music without really worrying about press so much and just
mm,
releasing it because I want to. And so getting DMs from people or people seeing me at a venue or something and being like, oh, are you Joy? I love this project so much. And tell me what it means to them and stuff. And it makes me
mm.
really, really happy. The whole point of
Oh,
this project, was really to find a lot of peace and do a lot of self-discovery and dive deeper into my emotions. And it's beautiful that not only that I'm being seen, but that it's giving people the opportunity to do the same thing on their own journeys.
yeah. I mean, has that been almost sort of losing that? I don't know if worry is the right word, about press and just doing it solely for you. I mean, has that been a challenge?
Oh, a huge challenge,
Yeah, yeah.
I think I don't know. When I released Radical Acceptance, I had no idea. I was on a label. They were really cool, very supportive, but I didn't really know shit about press. And I got a lot of it. So it was like, oh, wow, okay. And it kind of became maybe this expectation
Mm,
for my next projects. And it didn't, those same things didn't happen for both of these albums with Amen and Five Prayers. And it
mm,
definitely got me in a place for sure, made me a little insecure. But I think the universe really needed that to happen.
mm,
Universe really needed me to get really confronted with the idea of am I releasing this music to become famous one day, or am I releasing this music because I love to make music?
mm,
And I think that was really, if we're talking the business PR side of releasing, that was kind of
mm,
my lesson the past year from Amen to now, especially between Five Prayers to now. It's just
mm,
having fun. It
mm.
music is so sacred, and life is so sacred, time is so sacred. There's so much happening in the world, and I get to make a fucking ambient bassoon album.
Yes.
That is what is important here. So yeah,
Isn't
I've
it?
just had some very large personal what's it called? Not manifestations, realizations. In
Realizations,
the
yeah.
last, I would say really in the last month or two, where I feel my entire perspective, not entire, but a very large part of my perspective towards my released craft has
Yeah.
changed a lot for the better.
Mm. I mean, yeah, I mean, this is an interesting, wasn't it? You know, when there's, you know, I guess you've got, I don't know. I mean, there's a whole host of things, isn't there? You know, kind of societal, you know, societal pressures that, you know, and kind of business pressures that are sort of put and expectations that are put on us at you know every stage. You know, in so many sort of kind of you know stages and areas of our lives. You know, to you know get that piece or a you know a percentage of peace in your mind where it's like okay I'm doing this for myself and for my and that's what matters and kind of like be damned with you know with the rest of it. I mean that's a strong place to be.
Yeah, for sure. I think like my goal right now is to definitely find way more of a balance. I think really with radical acceptance, going back to the beginning, not the
Yeah,
beginning, but a strong beginning,
yeah.
of having so much fun. I remember making that album and
Mm.
that was some cooked shit. Like
Yeah.
I don't really listen to my projects, but when I do go back and listen to that, I was like, okay, I see what people were saying. Like I wasn't like super critical of myself, but like I don't know, free jazz to me, like it still feels weird to me that it's a genre. Because I'm
Mm.
getting my PhD right now, and like it's all about improvisation and southern spirituality and how it's
Amazing.
I don't know like the politicization of music and things like that. But how free jazz was a movement, like it was
Yeah.
not a genre. But I
Mm.
understand like things sometimes need titles and like blah blah blah. So, but yeah, when I like go and listen to that, I'm like, oh, okay, I really see what people were talking about with this album and like what my friends meant, and just kind of like when I go back and really read about like more of the free jazz movement, specifically like with Max Roach and how he was standing up
Mm.
against the music industry, but also how that reflects the times of the civil rights movement in the States,
Yeah.
for Black Americans. It just kind of all came together on why that project felt so special, and
Mm.
why the music flowed the way it did, and why it was so raw and honest, and why a year
Mm.
later when I did it live in Berlin, I like lost my fucking mind and was like running through the crowd and yelling at these Berliners, like so it just like um I definitely lost part of that when I made A Man. Like A Man, I am so proud of. Like the production, the writing, like
Oh, it's
I
stunning.
had a
Yeah,
big
yeah.
budget, but it
Yeah.
was an entirely different idea of a project. I really
Mm.
wanted to expand, and I feel like I played something safe music wise, but I still like deeply love that project.
Mm.
But then Five Prayers is kind of finding the balance between those two.
Mm.
Um, because when I
Well,
was doing some live things for Amen,
mm.
it was fun, but it was like it was kind of hard to fit that album into like something live. So when I was
Mm.
talking to my agent, and to some friends, I was like, well, I think I do need to like make something that shows what I can do solo. I've never done that before.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like where a lot of, Five Prayers came from. It really was like I was making some demos to maybe get picked up by a label, like
Yeah.
it was like the whole thing was kind of guerrilla. Um,
Right, right. Okay.
but now I don't know, I feel like I've really found my spark again. I really like have found my
Mm.
why again. I played at one of my favorite festivals ever, Dripping in New Jersey. It's like I don't know, you can think if people know sustained release, it's like a smaller sustained release.
Mm.
um I don't want to compare it to like Primavera because I feel like they kill me for saying that. But like it's just like it's fun, it's out there, like it's camping. It's like it's Primavera is very much not camping. But
Mm.
yeah, it's a really good time, and like it's definitely I don't know, there's a lot of love that goes into that festival, and but
Mm.
the people that go are so special. Like
Mm.
you're camping, and like a lot of the artists are also camping, and I brought my band with me for my second year going there. And
Yeah.
they're used to some bougie accommodations. I will not lie. I have like I have shown them some nice hotels, but this concert was not that. And and when we got there, they were like, Joy, like, what is this? And I was like, no,
Well,
no, no, no. I promise after we play our set, you're gonna be like, wow, this is like the best thing you ever did for our lives. And I'm like, of course. So that show, I think possibly was some of the best live music I've ever created in my life. Like it was
mm,
just so special and raw. And I like channeled so many different alter egos, and like my personal alter ego really came out.
mm,
Her name is Jade, you know, like my label.
mm,
So it's like that was
mm.
kind of where that name came from. But I was like running
Yeah.
around the room again and jumping with people, having them scream into my mic, like praise and worship, and like playing all these like preacher samples, having my drummer Jesse Cox just like go fucking crazy and like do kind of like some punk shit. Scott
Mm,
going crazy on the violin, and I'm just like being a banshee. Like it was, I really felt like myself again, and felt like
yeah.
the part of myself that like I was afraid to let out of like just kind of like that rawness and like just me. You know, I'm a kooky person. You know, people
Interesting.
see me sometimes online as like the super serious person,
Yeah.
you know, about to be a doctor, like all of this. But it's like no, like
Yeah.
like I just
Yeah.
like I really want to have fun making music, and I almost fell into that obsessive side of like creating music business wise, and I'm just really grateful that this project, like all in all
Mm.
to say, I'm really grateful that I made this project because it really put me through a lot of emotions, and on the other side now, like I feel like I'm so ready for the rest of my career.
It's interesting, isn't it? That talk about the sort of alter egos and the those times when you feel like something is waiting to to sort of get out, or just to with some sort of abandon, and just kind of go for it, just kind of go crazy. And it's interesting, isn't it? When you said about it, that people may have this sort of perception, because it's kind of quite in some way sort of heavy subject material, that you sometimes writing about. There is that sort of perception, and then when so people get used to kind of seeing you at this at a certain level, have a certain image, and then when you depart from that, it's kind of like, wow, I didn't expect that. I mean, that's kind of that must be sort of really kind of liberating to be able to to do that.
It's extremely liberating. Yeah, it's like it's been definitely a process of finding my boundaries with
Mm.
supporters.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
and I used to share a lot about my mental health online.
Mm,
And then it started getting weird. Like,
mm,
people would open up to me about their stories, which, like, when I talk to, like, my closest friends that helped me so much in my career, they're
yeah,
like, well, Joy, like, you're opening up, so it's natural for people wanting to open up to you. And I'm like,
yeah,
yeah, that's like I get it, but like the shit they're putting in my I shouldn't say shit, but like the the
yeah,
the things they're sharing in their messages to me are really heavy. Like
yeah, yeah,
really,
yeah.
really, really heavy. And it plays into so many different dynamics of like
It does, doesn't it?
mammyism and like I'm not
Mm,
your healer and stuff like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
And it just bums me out. Like honestly.
Yeah, I totally hear
Or
you.
like at a show, people will like, oh, I saw you post this, like how are you and things like that. And I was like, well, I guess I am kind of inviting these people into my life. So I just stopped, you know.
Mm,
I share things on with friends and stuff like that. But I
mm,
think I kind of like took a big step with that um again at that festival dripping this year.
mm,
Because I played a very emotional set last year,
mm,
and people would stop and talk to me and ask me if I'm okay. And they would
mm.
share things, kind of like the thing I was happening on Instagram, but in real life. And it
Yeah,
was very beautiful, but it was kind of a lot. And this
yeah,
past few years have been very difficult. So I knew really after shows this year, I kind of have like been ducking away and staying home.
yeah, yeah,
I know my music's emotional and stuff like that, or like especially live. So I just kind of said it in the set of like, this is a DJ electronic festival. I'm here to dance. You're here to dance. If you want to talk later, just like let's hug it out and like go dance. Like I just don't
yeah,
want to
yeah.
talk about it.
No,
So
totally, yeah. I mean, this is the hard thing where you're finding some connection, with your fans, with people that want to listen to your music, this sort of, I guess, this sort of question of relating, relatability, how you kind of relate. It's a kind of word that's been overused, isn't it? Relatability, but you know what I mean? It's like, that it's that establishing that connection, and but then it's like at the end of it, yes, you're a human being, and you can't, like you said, you can't be everybody's healer, but you have to have a space for it. It's really difficult, because I think, I mean, kind of social media just sort of opens up those kind of channels, and I wouldn't want to sort of disrespect anybody, but sometimes there are kind of boundaries that perhaps have to be respected.
Yeah, for sure. And it's definitely like a two-way street, you know.
Yeah,
Um, like it's not like a super hard boundary with me, but
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
it's kind of like it sounds
It's
so
it's
bad.
something.
Like
No,
it's
it's kind of something that I don't know. It's something that, yeah, you don't have a hard boundary, but there's an instinct almost of
it
where
is well
where that
because I
line
know
is.
what's gonna happen. Like and like friends see it happen, we kind of giggle after it. Like and this is no disrespect, but it's just like it's usually some white person and they give me a
Mm,
hug and they
mm,
start with like, Joy, that was so beautiful. And then they'll
mm,
go into something that's like really kind of like traumatic to hear, no
yeah,
shade. And they start crying every time. It's like an equation, like every time.
yeah.
So it's been, yeah, it's kind of just been also for protecting myself as well. And
Yeah.
not that anyone's being violent, but I mean, I have a lot of stuff happening in my head, you know, and it's like
Mm,
I kind of just want to share the music and share my story and like sometimes hear other people's stories, but not like right after a show because it's just like my head, like the adrenaline's going and like
yes. Yes.
I
Yeah.
feel like any
Yeah.
smile I'm
Totally.
giving is fake as hell. But honestly, like the messages I receive after shows, those mean so much. I mean, when people tell me anything, it means so much. But I get some
Mm,
messages that now like that are just so beautiful of like I don't know, people saying like I played this song to like remember my mom who passed away or things like that. And it's just
mm,
like, oh my
mm.
God, like,
Yeah.
wow, okay, I did not see that coming, you know,
It's
with
heavy
my
shit,
music,
isn't
but
it?
it's like so beautiful and I'm happy that like I don't know, this album helped me grieve a lot. So I mean it makes sense.
Mm,
But also kind of going back into the serious thing of like serious personality and stuff. I mean, I
mm,
think it's like people that have been following my music from the beginning, I was a lot more serious in 2022. I'll give them that, but it's because I
mm.
like wasn't living in the right body, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then transitioning like really opened my life up to who I've always wanted to be, you know,
Mm,
and who I've always felt I was and things. And it like gave me a much larger range of emotions in all honesty.
mm,
And like I'm turning 30 in a couple months now, I guess, a month and a half. And like, I don't
mm.
know, it's just kind of like so many things can be true at once. Like I can be this academic who writes about performance theory and like
Mm.
black performance theory, like all of these different aspects of life. And I also can be like going to the club at 2 a.m. and leaving at 7 a.m., you know, and
Yeah.
taking a nap and going to a darty at 12 p.m. Like, it's just like all of these things can
Yeah.
be true. So I don't know. I'm just kind of learning like all the different sides of myself. And
Mm,
like,
mm.
yeah, I don't know. Sometimes I do hope people see that and don't just see me as someone that's always just like, America's bad, you know, like
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I do
No,
also have fun.
I totally hear you, Joy. Totally hear you. I mean, over the past sort of few years, what do you think has kind of carried you through them? In terms of your personality, your kind of, I don't know, what do you call it, like kind of attributes, characteristics, things that have helped you, have that kind of strength of mind to, not only, kind of get through any sort of trouble, but also to produce this amazing music as well.
Oh, I mean, really resilient and my friends,
Yeah.
um, and just like I don't know, the imagery I have in my head since I was a child, in all honesty.
Mm.
'Cause I was thinking about like, oh, what am I gonna talk about today? You know? Um, but yeah, like kind of the things I like hint at in the interview since 2023. And I feel okay to like talk about it now, but like I had a
Mm.
very traumatic experience with my father in
Mm,
2023, and it I think changed the course of my life.
mm,
Um, to where like I didn't talk to friends for months, like my
mm,
best friends for months, and it was so weird when I would check in. It had been a couple months, and like they had new partners or things like that, and I was like,
mm.
"Awesome, I'm so happy for you." And then I would go away for a while again, and like yeah, it just, I don't know. I finally just like had a friend get really honest with me. It was like, we have to figure this out. Like, you're
Yeah,
gonna tell
yeah.
me what happened, and like, we're gonna figure this out. And I like shared with them what happened, and they were like, oh, maybe you don't have to figure this out right now. And I'm like, thanks. So, yeah, I think so too. So I think
Mm,
like I gave myself that space, and it kind of turned into this multi-year grieving process. And that really like I don't know, the pain I felt from that experience kind of has just poured into so many different aspects of my life.
mm,
Um, but also when I was younger, um, I always saw my future and it was always so beautiful, but it
yeah.
always felt like it stopped at a certain point, and I was like, am I gonna die young or something? Like, what's going
Right.
on, you know? But
Yeah.
something I vividly remember that is, I don't know, that I think has played a lot into how my music feels today, and how my music, I don't know, it feels more settled, because I
Right.
feel
Right.
more settled in my body. But I had to have been like 6 or 7 at my great aunt's house, and I remember always having this imagery of like me in Italy or Greece or somewhere like European concrete stairs. Like I knew it was that,
Mm,
and I was a woman when
mm.
and I would see that when I was really little, and I was always so confused. And I grew up in a pretty religious environment, so I never brought that shit up,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
once I transitioned, it literally felt like I unlocked chapters of my life, and
Mm,
I realized that like I could not unlock music in the way I wanted to. I couldn't unlock my cooking in the way I wanted to, my
yeah.
fashion, me,
Yeah.
and especially my future, because I could not see myself continuing in life with the body
Mm,
I had for
yeah, yeah.
26
Yeah.
years, 27 years. So once like I took that step and like had so much support from my friends and things, and like transitioned, it just that like I mean literally transitioned me out of a lot of bad shit, but quite literally added years to my life. Like I don't know,
That
like
that was the thing that
people.
kind of like unlocked the doors almost.
Absolutely,
Yeah, yeah,
100%. It's
yeah,
actually like I'm taking a PhD exam soon, and one of my
yeah.
questions is literally like, how has your music changed as your like your gender exploration and
Mm,
transitioning and things? And it's,
mm.
I don't know, it's like something that like it's almost impossible to describe, but it's just like you have access. Have you seen that movie Limitless
I haven't.
ever?
Oh, I'm the worst person at remembering movies and movie titles,
So
so
with
I may well
Bradley
have done.
Cooper. Well, essentially, like the person like takes this pill and they unlock 100% of their brain, you know.
Mm,
And that's what it feels like after transitioning. I mean, but also like transitioning comes with a lot of issues in society and the
mm.
government and things like that.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
I wouldn't trade it for the world, you know. I wouldn't trade my identity for the world or anything. And yeah, I don't
yeah.
know. I feel like I'm just not being a poser. I don't want to say poser, but like I feel like I'm living, I don't know, just how I've always dreamed of, especially now. And like
Mm.
it, that will do some really good shit for your art, I will say.
I mean, I remember just you know when you kind of find those kind of answers. I mean, it's my both my parents died in 2022 and or 2022, and I remember my dad telling me some things that were thinking about those sort of unanswered questions is like the key sort of unlocking those doors, and he told me some things, and it was like, oh my God, yeah, now that part of my life sort of makes sense. It was weird. It was weird just sort of hearing that those there were some questions that I'd had, and he just talked about some stuff, and it was just like, oh fuck, yeah, that makes sense now. And it's yeah, it's that was a weird feeling for me, just sort of hearing that. Um, but yeah, it's when you get that realization that you must have had, and that must have been just an incredible feeling.
Yeah, it is still incredible, and it's
Mm,
like I don't know, you're forever learning yourself, but
yeah,
it's like you go through puberty and you have to
yeah,
learn like how to dress again. I mean, you don't have
yeah,
to, but I wanted to, and like
yeah, yeah.
um, I don't know, you just get to live the life that you always wanted. I always wanted, and I mean, I'm in an incredibly privileged position of like being in academia and like
Mm,
having a lot of resources that I know a lot of other specifically like Black trans women don't have. So I'm very grateful for, the opportunities I've been
yeah,
given and things I've achieved as well and things like that. So it's just I don't know. I just like really wish trans healthcare was so much more accessible because it's
yeah,
horrible how expensive estrogen or testosterone is, or just how expensive HRT is, how expensive the checkups are. Without
yeah.
health insurance, I would not have been able to do this,
It's
at all.
insane.
So
Yeah.
yeah, it's really shitty on the negative side of things.
Mm,
Um, but also just like finding a new community, especially in Brooklyn, of like all of these DJs, all of these queer and trans people, specifically Black queer and trans people, and like
mm,
it's just been so healing in a way to like I don't know, not have to explain myself, but really like when I go into these spaces, like
mm.
really just be understood and to not sound super
Have,
cheesy, but like it just is what it is.
have you found that your kind of friendships have changed?
Yes.
Yeah, because I mean, in a different sort of context, I mean, over the years, I'd worked out that I'd had a this kind of strange relationship with friends, where I would find it quite easy to let friendships go. But and in particular, if I and things and I'd worked out things that I sort of react bad to, which is like if somebody doesn't trust me, I trace that. I don't like that, and I trace that back to kind of like some events in my childhood, with my dad, where he didn't trust me, and it how this shit sort of stays with you through life. And as a consequence of that, for friendships, I found that my friendships were definitely more transient and shorter lived than a lot of people that I knew.
Yeah,
So
I think like friendships and relationships can be so difficult as we get older.
yeah,
It's for me, I have had definitely some friendship issues in the last few years.
mm,
Um, and I don't know, there was one in particular that like we had so much love for each other, but I think we both just like were going through a lot and we kind of blew up on each other. And like we took a
mm,
year off and we went
yeah,
to a bakery and like it was like it felt like we had so much gossip to tell each other. We kind of like got into the gossip before actually like talking about us. We had to like stop and be like, okay, girl, are we good? We were like, it's like, and it was just mutual understood. But we did talk about it, or just like, my mom is a therapist, so like that
mm,
comes with its own package of shit. But um talking with friends is like pretty, I don't know, when things are tough, like it's kind of easy for me to just like vocalize like how I'm feeling and like not
mm,
feel like I need to hyper explain things, but just be like, yeah, this is like
yeah,
how I
yeah,
feel right now. Or like you said this one thing, I don't hate you for it, but it did not make me feel good.
mm, mm,
And it's kind of like, I don't know, I feel like I used to also like I used to really cut friends off, but now I'm like I should explain like why I'm upset.
mm,
I mean, me
mm,
and one of my best friends got into a nasty ass fight last year, and like I knew where their heart was, which is I think what really saved our friendship.
mm,
But it was like very sad, like when it happened. But I don't know, it took
mm.
some time, and I realized like okay, I love this person so much, and they mean so much to me. So like it's not worth ending a friendship over. But a couple years ago, I would be like, all right, bitch, like
That's
I'll see
it.
you
Yeah,
later. So, but it's, yeah, I don't know. The older I get and the more I really value like chosen family and just like even just like friendships that aren't there yet and even dating and stuff, it's kind of like
Mm,
definitely being more strict with how I feel and like vocalizing how I feel, but also like being more understanding as well.
mm, mm. That's interesting. That's interesting how that's changed for you, how you've changed, I guess. And I guess that, that's what, that's what happens. We see things in, as we as our own lives change, even, if in a couple of years, you would have reacted differently to how you would react now. And I guess that's, kind of how friendships work, isn't it? We're all at moving at different paces or at different kind of stages, and the true friendships sort of come with you on that.
Yeah, absolutely. I was just talking to my cousin about it last night of like sometimes it feels like some family members still expect me to react to things the same way I did a few years ago.
Mm, mm.
And I mean, I would get like triggered pretty easily a few years ago. I mean, I was going through a lot, like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
and now like I feel like a lot more settled in myself, and when things happen, like I don't freak out
yeah.
externally anymore, but sometimes not even internally. But I don't know. I think it's like my biggest point of growth is when I have these two best friends. They're twins.
Yeah.
They are my favorite people a lot of the time and my least favorite people sometimes. But we just give each other so much shit. But sometimes like they'll be like just kind of getting on my ass and I want to hang up so bad. And I'm like, don't do it. You've grown so much. And I just sit there and I look so angry, but I don't hang up. And I think that is like a huge point of growth for me. And just like listening to people more, like really listening and like I don't know, even when I don't really agree with what they're saying, I listen now. And I don't listen to the point of like for like trying to argue or like trying to be right. And the
Yeah.
twins, like they're always on my ass about that. They're like, you don't need to be right about everything. And I'm like, yes, I do. But like we'll get there. And it's interesting, but yeah, I don't know. I just feel so much more relaxed. I feel definitely a lot more determined. I feel so okay with like things just flowing as they do. I did not feel this way literally a month ago. But
Wow.
just like
Yeah.
a lot has changed. I had a really beautiful conversation with one of my first bassoon professors
Mm,
and she just said so simply, like after she listened to me rant at like 8 a.m., I was really going through it. She was like, you are manifesting from a place of lack. Like you can't do that. And
yeah.
that really pissed me off so bad because I was like, you're
Right.
not
Yeah.
listening to me. But in the moment, I just listened. I was like, I do not agree with that. But so later, I was thinking about it literally all day, and it finally clicked what she was saying. And she's literally always right. And I just
Oh,
texting her, and I was like, I think you just fucked my shit up. Like you just like
yeah.
unlocked the door I couldn't unlock. Like yeah, this was in July, like early July, and I had just played at the fucking Met, like a couple weeks
Yeah.
before that, and I like was still complaining about other things in my life, and I was having such a hard time
Mm,
enjoying the things I dreamed of doing,
mm, mm,
like so it was a huge wake up call for me, and now like so many other parts of my life of like friends. We're always talking about love and marriage and things like that, and like I really look up to Tracy Ellis Ross, and like
mm,
how
mm,
she just lives her life and like I mean I don't misquote her or anything, but just from what I see, it's like if she gets married and has kids, like yay. If she doesn't, yay. But like marriage and like
mm.
the motherhood and things like that, that's not like maybe the biggest goal of her life. And I'm really getting to that point for myself where it's finding the balance of like I'm not I don't want to cry over men.
Mm.
But I also don't want to be married to my career.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm not saying she's married to her career. This is just like my personal journey. But yeah, so it's like really finding that balance as I'm like entering my 30s and moving cities and starting, I don't want to say starting a new life, but kind of in this new decade.
This,
So
yeah.
it's very funny how life works out. I mean, I'll just put it that way.
I
But
think
it
I think I think this you know what you've just been talking about there, this kind of, I don't know what you call it, like a, it's kind of like life's evolution, isn't it? You know, especially when you know your teacher says something and your initial reaction, and I've, you know, some people say something to me and I don't like it because it hits a point, doesn't it? It hits a nerve. You know it's right, but you don't either don't want to acknowledge it there and then. You need a bit of time for reflection, you know, and to, you know, it was like kind of take yourself out of that situation, allow yourself the headspace to kind of think. But the fact that, you know, you then, okay, yeah, I get that. Yeah. Fuck, she's right. Yeah. You know,
yeah,
that's I mean, I'm a big believer in like in emotional intelligence, you know, and how kind of powerful that can be and how lacking it is. You know, the fact that it's you know, it's not taught in schools, you know, so from, you know, from the day that we're born is such a travesty in my opinion. But you know, so you know what you were talking about there, to me that sort of says your own kind of like sort of awareness of, you know, your initial reaction and then the reflective reaction is great. I really like that.
I like it too. I
Yeah.
would say, yeah, it's
Because
things.
it doesn't
Yeah,
feel good, does it, to fight against that and to be grumpy about it and say, no, I fucking disagree. Of course I disagree. Yeah, no, but it
yeah,
doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good because
absolutely.
you just feel like you're stuck in a, you know, in a rut. You don't feel like you're making that progress that you want to. You don't feel like you're opening yourself up to change and to kind of different perspectives, and we have to have that.
Exactly. I really think so. Like I really was turning into like a very bitter person. I can't lie. And it
Yeah.
was just getting out of hand. And like my friends had a lot of patience with me because I mean they saw what happened and like they were
Mm,
frustrated for me. Like something's happening in the industry and I'm just so happy that like I woke up on this random day. Like she's not someone I
yeah.
call regularly ever. And like
Yeah.
everything in me was like, call Rebecca. And then I did, and I like left with my world rocked, you know. And I feel like it's not like a light, like completely flipped. Like I still have moments where I'm like, well, I
Mm.
wish that would have worked out, you know, or
Oh
things
yeah.
like
Yeah.
that. But it's definitely, I definitely have working towards more peace and acceptance, like
Mm.
radical acceptance. So, you know, it's funny how like everything really has a purpose. um,
I
but
mean,
it is like very interesting how like you pick these album titles kind of
yes.
as like a, I don't want to say in the moment, but it's like it feels like an era, but it really like it's a part of you forever, you know? And I
Do,
think like a lot of those aspects are coming back.
for something like that, I mean, taking something like that, you know, your album titles, even song titles. I mean, do those come uh, in the moment? Do they come instantaneous, or you know? So I wonder sometimes because creativity is such uh, a difficult thing to, you know, even kind of talk about because it happens, you know, and it happens when the time is right. You know, almost like this
Yeah.
thing that the kind of Saskia's talked about in a rewilding about this, you know, about divine timing. It happens when the time is right. It you can't put a time frame on things, and this is why I think, you know, in lots of ways, you know, the you know the wider world has been about, you know, putting things into boxes, having time frames on things, and I don't know. I'm certainly becoming, you know, less enamored with that kind of approach to things.
Yeah, I think for song titles, they do not come in the moment.
Mm,
Um, I definitely like sit with them and I change the names a ton.
yeah.
Um, with album titles, I go into the project with usually the title of the
Right.
album because I'm like
Okay.
creating that world. Like
Yeah.
album number
Yeah.
4 is currently happening,
Yeah.
and
Amazing.
it's an entirely. different thing I've ever done before. Like I'm
Yeah.
extremely excited. And it's not coming out till like 2027, 2028.
Mm.
But it's gonna be a doozy. I think it's really
Oh,
cool.
amazing.
Um
Amazing.
and yeah, like the title for that is Long as Hell, and my
Mm.
friends, the twins,
Mm.
do not like that. They're like, it should be shorter. I'm like, I don't fucking care. I didn't go through all of this to not do what I want. So yeah, and like that, like building the world of radical acceptance. You know, I was reading a lot of bell hooks. I was reading Toni Morrison, and like really into
Mm.
that Black feminist theory that
Mm.
still drives me today. And then
Mm.
going into Amen, I was listening to so much gospel. I was really interested in jazz, like taking, like kind of going a little bit more, a tiny bit more traditional in some sense,
Mm.
but really starting that process of mixing gospel and ambient music and jazz and
Yeah.
like all of that in my
Yeah.
own idea. Because
Mm.
I got a lot of shit for that album from some jazz
Mm.
people, and they can honestly go fuck themselves. But like, it's just they were like, "Joy, you are not a jazz musician," and I was like, "I have never said I'm a jazz musician. If you
Yeah.
Google me, that white algorithm puts me as jazz." And these festival
Yeah.
bookers see that I make music that fits into this world. You know, I don't
Yeah.
have jazz training, but who are you to tell me I
Absolutely.
do not belong in a style of Black music? Like, go fuck
Absolutely.
yourself, you know? So,
Absolutely.
but
100%.
with building this, building Five Prayers, you know, I really wanted to like tap back into not really classical, but minimalistic roots
Yeah.
that I've always loved growing up, like with Julius Eastman and Philip Glass, of course, and
Mm.
also just
Mm.
like Southern folk music, like parts of Zydeco are minimalistic as well. So
Mm.
kind of just like capturing all of those ideas and just making this beautiful, soft world. That's like
Yeah.
when people were, when friends were asking, like, what does it sound like? And I was like, there's no loud moments in this album. Like just imagine that for me. So, but album number 4 is going to be like an hour and 20 minutes long or something. It's going to be
Mm.
my, unless like, you know, some, I don't know, someone gives me a shit ton of money, it's definitely going to be my last major project for probably like a few years.
Mm. Mm.
It's just so expensive, like having your own label and things like that, and wanting to do things at a really high, expansive level
Yeah.
costs like
Mm.
30, $40,000. You know, if you want to pay people
Wow.
right and have really good quality of studios and shit like that. So,
Mm.
but yeah, that the album that I'm working on now is very, very gospel, very spiritual jazz, very in it, like
Mm.
very live, very
Mm.
praise and worship. Um, yeah, it's fucking cool. Even a
Oh,
little
amazing.
punk. There's a couple hip hop features on there that I'm very excited about.
Yeah.
And I'm this one producer I'm working with. I was like, how the fuck am I gonna mix my bassoon into
What?
working with this one artist who is very grungy, and I can do it, you know, like anything is
Yeah.
possible. But it's gonna, like, once we figure out the final product, it's gonna be interesting. But yeah, I don't know, it's just like, I think right now, like, kind of just world building these live shows, because I have my next tour coming up really soon,
Mm.
and it's like I'm really figuring out what I want to say this
Yeah.
tour.
Mm.
And just like, I don't know, just having fun and just being a lot more free.
Yeah.
Um,
I
so
mean,
yeah,
this.
oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, you know, what you were talking about just then, you know, kind of describing those, you know, kind of different styles and influences. That, you know, talks to me, you know, what I said in the intro about, you know, holding you up as a kind of an example of the power of our mind to, you know, think freely about these sort of different influences. And you know, you mentioned about how you're thinking, okay, how can I sort of fit the bassoon into this? I mean, god damn, that is so exciting to think about those. Honestly, I mean, it's so, for me, you know, it's kind of just so inspiring, sort of hearing you talk about that, about, and you know, because it just sort of shows a level of creativity, a level of open mindedness and desire to hear these different things and how you can do it. it's just great.
It's very fun. You know, it's very fun. And I think like the more I let go of genres, the more
Yes.
fun I have and like really loving the term Black American music, you know, is like
Yeah.
replacing the word jazz here.
Mm.
And that's kind of what I tell people when they kind of confront me on like what genre I'm in or whatever. And I'm just like, I'm avant-garde. Like I
Yeah.
fit into the places that book me. I fit there. And if you disagree, I don't know, pay me. I don't know what to tell you, but
Well,
it's yeah, it's very interesting. But I was telling a friend yesterday, like I like smaller things. Like there's a couple of smaller concert series here, and like people just go and jam and stuff like that. And like I don't really get to do those too often anymore. And when I asked people who book them, I was like, I want to do this. And they were like, I can't afford you. And I'm like, oh, thanks. But also like I'll do it for free. Like I want to have fun. You know, like everything doesn't
yeah.
have to be at this big stage or like thousands of
Yeah.
dollars of
Let's have a
payment. Like
conversation about it.
yeah,
Yeah.
like I just want to have a
Totally.
session. Like let's have a
Yeah.
live session and like that's something I do really love about a lot of musicians here in
Yeah.
Brooklyn. Like there's
Mm.
I got asked to do like some pretty I don't know. There'll be cool shows. Like I'm playing like an art book fair at Moment PS1 in September. Um and you know like the budget's not huge for it. So I was kind of like fuck like I think I want to try drums with
Mm.
my like live ambient stuff and I'm
Mm.
just so grateful to have like built relationships with these incredible musicians. So
Mm. Mm.
Chasier from Irreversible Entanglements is going to play with me and we've like
Mm.
made incredible music together. So it's nice that like money like obviously I want to always pay people that work with me. I
Yeah.
also want to be paid, you know. So
Yeah.
it's nice though that like even though the economy here is horrible right now and like
Mm.
everyone is really feeling it, like we can still make music, you know, like it's
Mm.
not going to
Mm.
stop the creative process.
Yeah.
um so yeah, it's really nice, but like I'm moving to Chicago in a couple weeks.
Okay.
And it's like I'm excited to host these sessions in my studio,
Mm.
a part of this residency and stuff like that, and just come and have fun. Like, because some people have
Mm.
hit me up of like, oh, like, you know, we want to book you here, like, or do you want to play here, blah blah blah. And I'm like, I'm gonna do one show this fall, but I'm gonna kind of take it really slow. You know, like I
Mm.
just want to have a home base right now and travel and tour and like come home and not have to worry about like hustle and bustle at the
Mm.
moment. Because I'm in a place right now where I don't like need to do that.
Mm.
But yeah, I'm just excited to like move to this new city and that has like the history of free jazz, you know, and
Yeah. Yeah.
really just make so much beautiful music, wacky music, music that will probably never be heard again, you know, and like it is funny also like when I have some sessions and people are like, we should make a record. And I'm like, wow, we think of making albums so differently.
Mm.
Like some people, you know, like just go to the studio and they do it. And I think that's beautiful. For me, it's like a storytelling process. Like I can't just like jam for an hour and then like
Yeah.
make and release it. It makes me feel so uncomfortable for some reason.
Mm.
Um yeah, I don't know. Like I should confront that in my next 5 years. But
I mean, maybe,
um
yeah. I mean, maybe
yeah.
that is something to explore. It's, something that you've identified. Okay, why does that make me feel uncomfortable to do that? I mean, this this idea of comfort zone. Why why you don't want to do certain things. We all know, don't we, that you push yourself out of your comfort zone, you try something, and you can have the most. I mean, you can have some shit results, but you could, you
Yes.
could get some good stuff that sort of comes out of it. Something that again that you learn about yourself.
You
That's
definitely
you know.
can. You know, I think really what it is that like I don't want to be in a band.
Mm,
You know,
yeah,
like
yeah,
I don't
yeah,
really want to
yeah.
tour in that way. I don't want to really be in a duo project. Like I just want to
Yeah,
like for now, I think I will be open to it one day, but for now just like really focus on getting these stories told that I have.
yeah.
Um that's what I really think about, you know, cuz definitely I've gotten some cool offers, you know, and I just kind of
Mm,
turned them down because I
mm,
don't want to deal with all that. Like I already
yeah,
know my own personality around releasing an album is horrible, so I like don't
yeah.
want to have to deal with that with another person. But
Well,
it's it's interesting.
Well, it does make you think, doesn't it? You know, even where other musicians come into the recording process solely for that project. Even then there are so many different personality types.
Yes.
I often think about that. I think I'm a little bit nerdy about this, there's how those personalities and what you respond well to, what you don't respond well to, all those different there's so many moving parts that can either derail it or make it work, make it into the best fucking thing that there's been.
Yeah, I
It's
completely
so
agree.
kind of like it's a bit of an unknown, isn't it?
It is. It is. But I feel like you can really tell the energy. Like,
Mm,
just even going into the studio or even just talking about the project and things like that. And I just did this really beautiful collaborative project with the artist Kevin Beasley.
yeah.
And I didn't know a ton about his work before
Okay.
joining this project. And I was actually kind of happy I didn't take a deep dive. Like I went
Right.
to a studio and we had sessions before like the rehearsals with the dancers and stuff. And we just immediately clicked. Like he's also Southern and like
Mm,
it's like we have definitely shared some similar life experiences and things like that. And it like
mm,
really just came through in the music. And like we created a lot in not a ton of time. And like
mm.
that was just so like I hope we make more music together in the future. Like that shit was so cool. um,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's
but it was
awesome.
funny. He had me like he didn't it was not required, but we were I felt like kind of pushing each other and like he had this section where he really like wanted these beats and stuff. Like these steady beats or different like experimental things and stuff like that. And
Mm.
like I don't make beats. I also don't do a lot of stuff with rhythm in general like that. But it
Yeah,
was so fun. I was like, okay, well, like, okay, I miss a beat. Like, who fucking cares? So it just was
yeah,
so
yeah.
fun to like be in such a safe and comfortable environment with this like amazing artist and just like
Mm,
it's crazy how great the music will sound when you're comfortable. But
yeah,
yeah, and it's like there's a couple more like collaborative things happening later this year that
yeah,
I'm so excited to see like what is this gonna sound like.
yeah. No, that's incredible. Would you would
Yeah.
you would you would you call yourself a perfectionist?
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Absolutely. Oh,
Yeah,
right.
absolutely. Yeah, 100%. It's like it's so I think yeah, it's a
I mean,
problem
is
for
that both in your music and your life? Kind of generally that perfectionism is important for you.
yeah, I think
Mm,
so. I mean, it some of it stems from just my natural personality,
mm,
but when it comes from music, and it's something that has come up with my trio, and I
mm,
play in a band with two beautiful human beings that haven't necessarily had my life experience, and I feel like
mm,
sometimes early on didn't understand why I was kind of so intense about things, but it's like
mm,
I don't have a fallback. I don't have parents
mm.
I can fall back on.
Yeah.
There's no savings for me. Like if
Mm.
I can't pay my rent, I can't pay my rent. There's no one I can call.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
there's no shade to them at all. Like my friends who grew up with families that can support them, I love them for that. But I do have to keep it real with them sometimes and like have them remember like that's not everyone's experience. So for me, um, with albums and like a lot of shows and things, it's like this has to be incredible. Like every show I do has to be incredible and moving and powerful.
Mm,
All the shit people healing, whatever the
mm.
reviews say, and it has to be that. So I keep working and like
Yeah.
I found definitely a healthier balance with it, but it got really bad a couple years ago. But
Mm.
with projects, Five Prayers is probably the most and also least editing I've ever done on a project. Like
Right.
it,
Okay.
yeah, I would like do it. It would be me and Edwin would be in the studio, like producing and stuff and like mixing and everything. And we both be like, okay, we have to stop. And like he
Mm.
would definitely say I was still a perfectionist, but I definitely let go of a lot. Like there was a lot of things on that album that I still want to change, but I didn't. And like just kind of like being okay with this. I don't want to say in between album, but it was kind of like
Mm.
I would have called it an EP if it wasn't 36 minutes long, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah, yeah.
But it's like I had this music. I didn't want to sit on it. I thought about just releasing it as singles, but I was like, no, it is a project. Like, so I just like put it out there, you know, and
Mm.
working with an incredible team of people that helped me like really make this happen, and
And,
continue in the life of Five Prayers as well. So it's like I'm definitely learning to let go, like
and
100% learning how it's definitely gonna take a lot more time, but like the steps are being taken.
and how does it feel to you, to let that go? Is it
It
uncomfortable?
feels good, I think. It is
Mm.
uncomfortable for sure, but it feels good and it's kind of like I mean it all plays into everything. I mean everything does, you know, but like
Mm.
the reason I decided to make my own label is because I felt like I don't know. I felt like I was not being seen, and
Yeah.
by some of these labels that I don't know. I thought they fucked with me, but and maybe they
Mm.
do. But you know, it just like it didn't feel right, and it felt like
Mm.
when I would talk to them, like maybe I don't know. It just like brought out this like small sense of desperation out of me, and I didn't like that. And I also
Yeah.
didn't like how like it feels like you're trying to convince these white A&Rs of
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
trauma based beautiful music, you know, and
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
felt like the slave auction block. Like so many visceral things I just didn't like about it. And
Mm.
that's why I made my own that's why I made my own label. And
No
it's
label.
kind
Yeah.
of like the whole point of Jade is to like be more experimental, be more free, still make beautiful, high quality material, but like definitely letting go more and like kind of keeping all of that alive and like trusting myself and all of that has really I don't know kind of played into like trying to be less a perfectionist. Like what I'm going to
Mm.
make is going to be great. I don't need
Yeah.
to hyper edit everything. Like it's going to be phenomenal. I've had shows where I felt like I sounded like I shit in my fucking hands and clapped and people still loved it. And I was like, okay, amazing. I really need to like fix my headspace.
Well,
So
yeah. Yeah.
yeah, I feel like I definitely feel like this industry can also, you know, just very much push you to being a perfectionist in a very unhealthy way. And but you know,
Mm.
at the same time, I will say I mean, we're here. Like,
Mm.
honestly, it does feel like Black trans women and Black cis women, so I guess Black women in total, are
Mm.
held to an insane fucking standard in this industry across all genres.
Oh,
I know
without a doubt.
so
Without a
many Black
doubt.
trans women that
Mm.
should have the biggest record deals, the biggest publishing deals, biggest
Yeah.
everything. They should be winning the MacArthur and all of this. And they just don't. We
Yep.
don't, you know?
I agree.
And it pisses me off so bad because I just
Oh,
see
and
these beautiful
understandably.
artists
Yeah.
who someone just needs to believe in them and give them money, and they're gonna make the best album it like ever, you know. It just
Yeah.
and it's so frustrating.
I mean,
And it's
even I completely agree. I mean, even if what kind of turns your head is money. If you're in the industry, what turns your head is money. If you think of the bias that exists where, kind of black women, black trans women are ignored, the talent that is being so if money is what turns your head, the money that the industry could make, if these groups of people were allowed, given the chance, it just doesn't make any sense.
it
You know,
doesn't.
aside from the fact that they're fucking talented people who should be given that chance, it's just insane on so many levels.
I mean, it's insane, but it also makes sense. You know, like across history, especially queer history, what is celebrated is white queerness. But
Mm,
what is
yes,
white
yeah,
queerness without blackness? You know, it's
yeah,
all been stolen and been
yeah,
commodified and whitewashed, and like
yeah.
they sell it on a pride shirt at Target, you know?
Yes, that's very
Um,
true. Yeah, yeah.
and it's like a lot of black trans women and black queer people don't fit that aesthetic, you know. But it
Mm,
is funny like the what you bring up with money because like I don't have an American booking agent, And it is
Mm,
incredibly frustrating at times. But
mm.
I book really great shit for myself, but
Yeah,
and
yeah,
I'm proud of that. But at the same time, I do when I am having a funny moment with friends, and I'm like, yeah, it doesn't make sense to me because I make good money with these shows. So
yeah,
logistically, it doesn't make like, do y'all not want money? Like, what is it? So, but yeah,
yeah,
it is like there is a huge issue, and I'm not even just trying to advocate for myself, but actually talk about what happens to my community, to my sisters. It is
yeah.
blatant
Oh
anti-black
yeah,
transphobia that
absolutely.
happens in the
Yeah,
industry, and people don't want to fucking talk about it because
I
they
agree.
just think that you're like being a whiny baby. But what is celebrated is white transness all the
Mm,
time, and it's so frustrating. It's so incredibly frustrating, and that's the
oh
thing
yeah,
that like I wish more people saw that in every genre, you could say, of people, every group of people, whiteness
yeah.
prevails.
It does
Like
prevail. You're absolutely
it,
right. It always
yeah,
prevails, and
it's
there are
so
so few
frustrating.
people that will, you know, that that will speak out about that. So few, through. I mean, we're seeing it so much with what kind of what's going on in Palestine as well. So few, and when they do, it's it's from a it's when it's safer for them to do it, not when
Oh
it's not when
yeah.
it it's like this. Okay, well, I'll just sort of hedge my bets. I'm going to speak out about kind of black trans women only when it's safe for me to do it. So few people will actually kind of take a bona fide stand.
Yeah, I mean it is hard. I will say like, I spent a lot of time building this career for myself. And
Mm,
it's shitty that like I could speak my opinion on something that's so important to me and then have everything literally taken away. So
yeah,
it's like
yeah.
on one side, it's like I always want to feel like I can stay true to myself. And like I started this career with, an album where I was cussing a lot of bitches out,
Mm,
and like
mm,
I definitely don't do that as much. And but
yeah,
I think you do have to play it safe though, in all honesty. And it's not even from a capitalist approach. I think it is also just like a safety issue as well. Like um this last tour I did, people were asking me questions on like an interview thing about what I think about the government and what's happening in the states and stuff. And I just
mm.
declined to answer. I was like, this is not safe for me to answer right now. Like I need to
Well,
get back into the fucking country. But
yeah,
it's hard because I don't know. It's hard. Like you see so many black people in history who have spoken out and get completely blackballed from something they love to do and they don't recover from it.
yeah,
And like I I don't want that for me. I don't,
mm,
I don't want to sound selfish at all, but and I like will
yeah.
always stand up for what I believe in. At the same time, I don't want my
You
shit fucked up.
you do make a really good point there, and I'd sort of forgotten that for a moment that in particular in the US, yeah, it's a different ball game. I think here I was thinking about the environment here. I guess it's safer. I mean, it's not. It's becoming shittier. But compared to what's there in the US, yeah, it's a that's there is. You're absolutely right. There's a safety issue. Yeah,
Yeah, it's complicated, but
yeah,
I do think it's important for people to speak out when you can, where you can, and hopefully it doesn't affect your bread too
yeah,
much. I
yeah,
mean, you're gonna lose things when you speak out, but it is
yeah,
like disgusting how like you can speak out about things that everyone knows is wrong, and then
yeah.
they try to destroy you over it. It's fucking stupid.
Yes, yeah. There's a lot of that goes on as well, isn't there? This destructive habit that
Yeah,
people
but it
have.
also like in when October 7th happened, um, I remember making a post on Facebook. I still use Facebook. I think it's still kind of fun. But I made a post in support of Palestine and speaking out. And some supporters, because I don't really use it as like a social thing anymore. It's just kind of like talk
Mm,
about shows and whatever. But
mm, mm.
um, some supporters got in my comments and were like, no, Joy, like, I follow your work so much. Like, I cannot believe you're taking this
Mm,
idiot approach to this. How are you supporting these people? Blah, blah, blah. And
mm.
I got the comment and I was like, if you follow my music, this should not be
This should not
surprising
be a surprise.
in
Yeah.
any capacity. But it was just crazy how much racism immediately came out and how
Yeah.
people like. I mean, my shit's public, you know, like you can find
Yeah.
my email, you can find my website, and like I got some crazy ass messages. But
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, people were just being so like blatantly, very violently racist to me in the comments and like making me feel pretty unsafe, and then just like
Mm,
having um people who were like, Joy, like you private messaging me of like, Joy, I really respect your art. Like, I really like, can we have a conversation about this? Like, it's very nuanced. I just didn't
mm.
open them because I was like, I am like, I'm not someone that like wants to like, this is me, this is my mental health, this is my identity. You know, like I'm a
Mm.
full person. But with that being said, I am a black trans woman that grew up in Houston, fucking Texas, with
Yeah.
bipolar disorder. You think
Yeah.
I don't understand oppression? There's
Yeah.
nothing
Absolutely.
nuanced about this, you know? So
Absolutely. Yeah.
it was just so insane to me. But just seeing
Mm.
so many artists just get their shit rocked for speaking out against Palestine has been
Mm.
so horrible. But nothing is as horrible as a genocide, you know? And it's
Yeah.
kind of like through my own life experiences, I don't debate with people anymore. I don't have those educational conversations anymore unless I really
Yeah.
love you. And like,
Yeah. Yeah.
there's times, you know, in 2020, and I mean, and beyond, but and also
Mm.
prior, that you would talk to a white person and they would want you to spoon feed them racism 101, you
Oh,
know?
absolutely.
And
Yeah.
I don't do that anymore. And it's kind of
Mm.
similar when people want to talk about any genocide that's going on, or even
Mm.
talk
Mm.
about like debate the validity of transness, especially black transness. And I'm like, yeah, same with those
Yeah.
jazz people. You can go fuck yourself. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not doing that. I'm
Not going to
sorry.
entertain that. No,
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 I'm not
absolutely right.
entertaining
Absolutely
it.
right. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
going back to when you were asking what has changed, that absolutely.
Does.
And like I
Yeah.
set very strong boundaries on my social media sometimes. Like as if I'm saying something on Facebook, I sound like I'm 60,000 years old, but like if I'm saying something on
You
Facebook,
sound like
I
you're the same
put
age as me.
yeah. It's just like I'll put in the status like, do not say something stupid in these comments because I will cuss you out. You know, like
Yeah. Yeah.
or like
Yeah.
I'm not engaging. Like I'm just like, don't do it.
Mm.
And things like that, or just like turning the comments off. It's a beautiful feature.
Yeah.
But yeah, you just sometimes you can't give people opportunity to piss you off. But yeah, it's
Yeah.
like the world is in a place right now that like it's so horrific to the point where I disassociate so much of the day. But like
Mm.
I don't know. I'm playing in London this November and like just kind of
Ah.
thinking of what I'm gonna talk about because there's a lot going
Mm.
on there with transness, you know, and also
There's a lot going
racism.
on. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but yeah, definitely find the intersectionality between like blackness and transness, and definitely gonna talk about that wherever I'm playing, and
Mm.
kind of spread that message, you know, because it's so violent what happens to trans people across the world,
Yeah.
and it gets brushed under the rug. And I think something I really hope that people can start doing is advocating for multiple groups at once. It is completely possible. It is completely
Absolutely.
possible because trans people are always forgotten about
I was
immediately.
just going
As
to
soon as
say,
something else
yeah.
happens,
Yeah.
it's like all attention is shifted off of us, and now we are whiny little babies, you know.
I was just going to
Um,
say that actually about not being able to handle more than one thing at once. You're absolutely right. Absolutely, I couldn't agree with you more on that.
yeah, it's very frustrating, and like I
Yeah.
feel like the things I'm most vocal or really just advocating for right now is just like genocides to stop all across the world, obviously, and then also focusing on things in the states because you know I'm from here, so there's also things that need to change
Mm.
here, and it's like the treatment of trans people, black trans people, obviously, but also AI. Like AI is so I don't think people are really paying attention to
No.
who AI is affecting and like the
Absolutely.
environmental disaster that is
Yes.
happening. And it's
Yeah.
nothing new with my family being from Louisiana.
Mm,
It's so, I don't remember what the name of the city is, but there is literally a city they call Cancer Town because
mm.
they're in such close proximity to these plants that everyone in these cities get cancer and dies. Like it's just a part of
Serious.
it, you know? So
God.
environmental racism, with Black areas, within
Yeah.
the indigenous reservations, all of this, like this is who AI is going to be affecting. We are having like unprecedented flash floods everywhere in this country
Mm,
with no government support. You know, it's,
yeah.
I never really saw myself as an environmentalist. I did when I was younger, but as I'm getting
Mm,
older, it's just like really clicking of like, no, we like, it's not funny anymore. Like we have to care about the earth. Like it's
yeah.
we're
Yeah.
not gonna go into cryo sleep and wake up on a different planet. Like we will die here, you know.
Well, you see,
So
yeah. I mean, so yeah, with everything that yeah, you know, with climate, you know, just sort of one example of these kind of corporate design catastrophes that happen. There's, you know, it's the same communities that are the primary sufferers, and
yes,
it happens time and time again,
every
and
every time.
it doesn't, and that doesn't get anywhere near enough uh coverage because for obvious reasons, because you know the whole kind of mainstream media is sort of part of that, you know, of that of creating that. You know, they don't want to report on it. It's
Absolutely.
it's horrific. It really is.
It's very horrific. And I just really think we do, like in all aspects of advocacy, have to take the steps that we can. You know, like for
Mm,
me personally, like I
yes.
mean, I'm also having some like crazy stomach issues these days, but it just
Mm,
like kind of like going vegan. Well, they're
mm,
not completely vegan, but just like more plant based and
yeah, yeah, yeah,
really trying to like watch where I get my things from. That like you know I'm supporting ecology, but I'm also supporting immigration rights with
yeah,
American farming, you know, and things of that way. And also, what was the other thing? Oh, just like I really want a new phone, but I don't need that, you know, like it's
yeah, yeah,
not a necessity. And like really trying to like crack down on things that like I know are in my power to change,
yes,
or maybe
yeah,
not change, but help. But yeah, so it's very heartbreaking what's happening all over the world, and like it feels even so numb just saying that. But
mm.
yeah,
Do you know,
it's very
Joy?
odd. Hmm.
I went to I Saskia went down to her mum and dad's this weekend. Her dad was a bit ill, so she went down to see them, and I went to uh this protest, you know, kind of pro-Palestine protest in London, um, and you know, there were. I think there were about 250, 300,000, maybe even 350,000. You know, it was hundreds of thousands of people there. And where the march ended up, it was near the you know, Houses of Parliament, and there were kind of planes in the sky and other things, you know, probably drones and stuff like that. And I just looked around at the crowd of people, at the number of people around me, and I saw these things flying overhead, and it just kind of like reminded me of guys of like the humiliation, the futility of dropping these kind of aid packages. Sorry, I don't want to get on a downer, but it just
No,
kind of
no.
visualized this. I just imagined this crowd of people around me making a run to try and grab hold of this stuff, and I just like it was just so awful to kind
Oh
of
yeah.
think of it in that way. I'd not been in such a big crowd for, you know, for a while, and but just I think just the things in the sky just visualized it for me. It was pretty yeah, it was pretty horrific.
Oh, absolutely. It's like I mean, it's all forms of dehumanization, you know. And I think I was talking to a friend who doesn't have like didn't have a really strong grasp of like the history of American African slavery, you know.
Mm,
And when I really talked to him about so many things that you're not taught in school, he was just like, you know, mind blown
Mm,
at the level of just like how dehumanized
mm,
enslaved African people were in this country. I mean, and still are
yeah,
today, very
still
much.
are. Yeah.
Um, and when we would like talk about that in a wider global perspective, he's like, wow, like this plays into everything. And I'm like, yes,
Mm,
dehumanization is the way to end people's lives.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
it is
yeah.
absolutely the way, because then people stop seeing them as literal people. And in
Yes,
the case
yes.
of American history, seeing us as cattle,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
things of that nature. So yeah, it's very interesting. And like, you know, I think a lot of people really should go back into their culture and find their feminist leaders.
Mm,
You know, for
yeah,
me,
yeah,
like I feel like my home is with Audre Lorde, and
yeah,
I know
yeah.
so many people's home is with June Jordan and Toni
Mm,
Morrison and Bell Hooks.
mm,
And the people I talk to that are so well read on these magnificent women um, have such a strong sense of
mm,
grounding, or just being grounded in themselves and in these movements and having all of these different perspectives. And like um,
yeah,
I really wish that more, that like
yeah.
just, you don't even need to read a book. I think we should all be reading, but like you can go
Mm,
on YouTube and like find someone from your culture, your background, who's advocating for the right things. How are they
yes,
putting that
yes.
into the perspective of your history? And then
Yeah,
take that knowledge, take that movement, take that power, and talk to other people of different cultures, different ethnic backgrounds, and see how it's
yeah,
really all connected.
yeah,
But
yeah.
also see how in all of these cultures and ethnicities, how much anti-blackness is connected, like it goes hand in
Yes, yes,
hand.
yes. Yeah,
So
yeah.
there's like, it's, I think the future is bright and very possible to be bright and even brighter, but it's just going to take so much. Like after 2020, I think that was
Mm,
so many Americans wake up, especially Black Americans wake up of just like, damn, like these people really don't fuck with us. Like it's
yeah,
like
yeah.
this, like we've known, but like this is really the confirmation. And like even just seeing in the way the American art scene, like everyone was fiending to write about Black artists and of
Mm,
all mediums from
mm,
2020 to 2022. And then that DEI funding stopped and they cut that shit out. Like
yeah,
there
yeah.
are so many initiatives are gone.
Gone. Mm,
So many things are harder in that sense. Festivals kind of like gave up with that whole movement. Everyone really gave up. They were like, well, this isn't
mm,
profitable anymore. It's not a thing anymore. And that's
mm,
something I'm so fearful for the movement, the pro-Palestine movement, the radical action that's taking. And I
mm.
hope it really doesn't suffer the same fate that Black American identity has faced so
Was faced.
often.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's like we have been completely turned into a hashtag, completely turned into a fad, you know.
Yes,
And
yes.
if I'm speaking candidly, it's very easy to tell that like a lot, I won't say a lot, but like some people are using saying pro Palestine as a fad, as like an
Mm,
icebreaker,
mm,
and things
mm.
of that way. And it's like it's why intention is so important.
Important. Yes.
And that's why everyone should listen to more Solange. Everything is
Yes. Yeah, yeah,
intention.
yeah.
Um, yeah, just do everything with intention. And like, it's, I don't know, it's just so important that people just like always stick to what they believe in and like don't make it some like
Mm,
monetary thing. So it's just, yeah, like, I mean,
mm,
I see these festivals programming so many more Palestinian artists, so many more Palestinian films,
mm,
um, and films from just that whole region. And I hope it doesn't stop,
mm.
because they surely threw us to the side.
Oh,
So it's
absolutely.
like,
Yeah,
I just
yeah.
pray that they don't face that same fate and just like have that feeling of being so disposable and just feeling like this was the hot thing for 2 years, you
Yeah,
know?
that's a really good point. That really good word, disposable. Yeah. Joy, thank you so
Yes.
much.
Thank
That's
you.
been that's been an amazing chat. Thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, it was really a really great time. I'm happy we got to do this.